We periodically have questions about how to adjust the tension on the drive bands on the spinning wheels. There are several different varieties of adjustment depending on the manufacturer and sometimes their particular model. This is an Ashford wheel, as is this next one over here. These two work the same way. This knob right here, when you turn it, it will raise and lower this entire table, which in turn moves the bobbin, the whorls, farther or closer to the driving wheel. So it's the same thing here as here. Perhaps you can see that move here. If I turn this very quickly, you can see this table is coming down and it's making the drive band very loose. Related question is, how tight should that drive band be? If it's a string drive band, only tight enough to drive the parts. There's no point having extra tension on it. If it's a double drive wheel and you have a drive band that's too tight, the drive band won't slip on the bobbin as it spins, which will give you problems with take-up. We'll do that as a separate subject another time. Mazzacraft wheels have a variation of drive band tension adjustment, which is very straightforward. This piece of wood here, which I'm moving right now, holds the whorl for the flyer, and this is snug enough fit in here. If I want the drive band looser, I can just move this down out on this outer end, or I can pull it up on this outer end to tighten it again. And that's it. And you will need to do that on this wheel, because as we go down to smaller and smaller whorls, the drive band will get pretty loose. So then I just raise it up and it's tighter. One more to say there's no adjustment needed on is the Louette S10 and its offspring, the various Louette wheels. The drive band tension is such that it is always correct. The drive band doesn't stretch out of shape for long periods of time, and it's there and you don't need to adjust it. One of the simplest examples is this. This knob here, the head of the bolt, I loosen it so that I can raise the mother of all up or down to get the drive band tension where I want it. And that's where I want it, tighten it back, and we're set. Drive band tension is not as critical on the stretchy bands because they by themselves have more grip than the string bands we've seen on some of the other wheels. Here's a good example of double drive wheel drive band tensioning. So we've got the one band going around twice, one revolution over the flyer's whorl and one over the bobbin itself. The drive band needs to be tight enough to drive both parts, but loose enough that it will slip at times on the flyer. So how do we tighten or loosen this? Here is a locking knob that holds this piece in place. I've loosened it a bit so that I can turn this, which you can perhaps see lets me move this so the drive band is very loose here, or I tighten it, bring the drive band back, get the tension I want, and snug this back down, and it is tightened and adjusted. All right, here are a couple of wheels that have a little different tensioning devices. Very simple one. This one is probably the easiest to picture. This little pulley can raise and lower, come up. If you need more drive band tension, you just get the drive band in place and raise the pulley, and you're done. That's as easy as it can get. All right, here's another shacked wheel. It is unusual in its appearance and in its brake adjustment, at least by appearance. The principle is exactly the same. If I can move the flyer head towards the wheel, it loosens the band. If I move it away from the wheel, it tightens it. And that's done just by turning this bolt head here, and it's turned and adjusted, and that's all you need. Another variation on adjusting drive band tension is the example in these two wheels here. We have a knob, which is a tension knob, sitting on top, and this is threaded through the line of the bobbin and the flyer shaft. So as I turn this knob, it is screwing this bolt so that this is raised, tightening the drive band. Very similarly, on this wheel, this, see here, this piece moving up and down as I turn this, and that in turn then is raising out here and tightening or loosening the drive band on the wheel.